Hey, I'm William from the Zombie Star, and this week in comics, we have several books to talk about. Not so many individual titles, as I feel Marvel really only had two big drops this week. But we were able to get our hands on a lot of variant covers and a lot of incentive covers, which I'm really going to show off and just kind of want to talk about in this segment. And then after that, we'll go into some comic books that I'm still reading, that I'm still following, that I think are really just stand out, and some comic books that maybe started out slow, but have really picked up and have become something really special. So let's begin. So starting off with Marvel comic books, this week we saw the release of Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, and this is our standard cover. Carnage for me has probably got to be my favorite villain in pop culture. I mean, I'll just put it that way. So to know that he got the Black, White, and Blood treatment, I was very excited for issue number 1, and it does not disappoint. If you're a villain fan, this is for you. Marvel fans, this is for you. If you're a Carnage fan, obviously, this is something that you're going to want in your collection. We wrapped up Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood not too long ago. And I think where Marvel wanted to highlight one of the most brutal but iconic heroes in the Marvel Universe, they really wanted to go on the other end of that spectrum and highlight one of the most brutal and iconic villains in the Marvel Universe. And like I said, they do not disappoint with Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, number 1. It's structured the same way as Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood, as it is this really compilation stories written by various authors and illustrated by various artists. And each issue will be illustrated and written by different artists and authors. For issue number 1, we have Howard, Percy, Ewing, Lashley, Pacelli, Macria, Iacono, and Fernandez. Issue 1, again, just really gets going, really fast-paced, really brutal, really bloody, still using the same color scheme as Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood, only incorporating black, white, and red, which is so appropriate for the character since his own color scheme, since his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man number 361, has been black, white, and red. So he really pops, he really stands out in his artwork. Of course, he is just committing these heinous acts of violence and murder. He is just a killing machine, absolutely no remorse, and he's just absolutely terrifying in the Spider-Man universe, and a threat to not just Spider-Man but to even other villains, and seemingly an arch nemesis to Venom. Each story is just really exploring not only the villain but even the character of Cletus Cassidy, and it's a very interesting take on who Carnage is and how he behaves in different environments. One of my favorite stories, standout story, has got to be, not a big spoiler, but there is a Western story, cowboy kind of sheriff versus the bandit story here. Really a play on the setting, but I think so appropriate for Carnage. Not only is Carnage brutal and is he murderous and just maniacal, but also humorous. And I think they really hit that also, because he just cracks jokes, one-liners, while he's committing just some of the most atrocious acts of villainy that you can think of. So again, Carnage, number 1, Black, White, and Blood, really gets going. This was a really fun book to read. Let's get into our variant and incentive covers. The first one, which I have right here, this is Patrick Gleason. And this is really special. This has got to be, I really enjoy this cover because it's what he's been doing with Venom. It's what he did with Spider-Man number 55, Last Remnants. And now he did a very similar take, that profile web take for Carnage. And even included that spider, same as he did in Spider-Man number 55. And I just really love this cover. Okay, we got more. So many covers came out for Carnage, and I just really want to highlight my variants before we get into any incentive covers. Again, I'm not aware of which author did what because there are just so many. But check out this cover here. This is all number 1s, and I honestly couldn't tell you how many total were released, but we had quite an amount of variants come out, and I just think they're all beautiful. Carnage just seems like artists really love drawing him because he is just, so as you see, his symbiote is liquid-like, it's very fleshy, and just sometimes even kind of just like gross. It's all slippery, but that is how his symbiote behaves. It's not very similar to Venom symbiote. Okay, so those are our variant covers. Our incentive covers. First one we have here is by Ooh, I cannot read that clearly. It's a Chetco. Okay, sorry about that. But this is our 1 in 50 variant cover for Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, #1. And again, these are really great representations that I think represent the villain very well, as he is that terrifying, and he is that powerful, and he is that menacing. Hopefully soon going to see him in the cinematic universe, in the Venomverse, and Venom was what it was, but the inclusion of Carnage has a lot of potential. So really holding my breath on that one. And of course, I had to save this one for last. Personal favorites. This is Peach Momoko, 1 in 25 incentive cover for Carnage. And you can just see that Peach Momoko brand and style from a mile away. It's got to be my favorite cover. So yeah, that was just for Carnage. Okay, that was just for the release of Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. And this was a lot of fun to read. If you're a Carnage fan, as I said, this is for you. If you guys just like maniacs and just these almost comical villains, this is a lot of fun to read. Alright, let's move on. This week we all saw the release from Marvel Comic Books Alien #1. Philip Kennedy Johnson, Salvador LaRocca, and Guru FX. This is our standard cover. I was excited for this book for many reasons. Not just being an Alien fan, but knowing that Disney acquired the license through the acquisition of Fox in 2019. A fan base was concerned of how Disney was going to approach such a mature license. It being that its films are definitely within the horror genre, science fiction, action, gore, and all that. And I gotta say, if #1 of Alien from Marvel Comics is any indication of how they intend to approach this license, I'm on board. #1 was awesome, a lot of fun to read, and I think a sincere take of the Alien franchise. Story-wise, we are getting a story within the universe. This is not extended universe, in the sense that it is a direct bridge to the films, and I think really does bridge a gap between the events of Alien and Aliens. And don't want to give too much away, but it really does feel like you are reading or you are experiencing something within the cinematic universe. I know that I don't think that Ridley Scott is attached to this project. I don't think he is, but I feel that the authors and even artists are really taking inspiration and really staying true and kind of honoring such a famed and beloved franchise. Story-wise, the narrative is dramatic. The narrative is action. The narrative is horror. And again, it's just such an untraditional kind of way of telling a story for Marvel. We're used to superhero comic books, and even though, yes, graphic in their nature, we just finished talking about Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. Again, to implement it as something so untraditional for Marvel is really kind of a breath of fresh air for the publisher, as I feel this is a pretty bold taking for them. But like I said, I feel they delivered with #1. If you're an Alien fan, you're going to enjoy this book. Artistically, not overly done. This is not overly vibrant or even cartoonish in any way. Again, stayed very respectful to, I even think, how this would have been shot in a film. Just realistic drawings, very mature takes on the drawings, and just a mature overall tone in the progressive narrative here. And I'm really excited to just see where this is going to go, as it's going to become its own full-fledged narrative. So really excited that this did stay true. It is connected to the Alien cinematic universe, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I was really sketchy on this one, and I was going to be honest about it. If I did not like it, if I wasn't going to be on board with it, I was going to make a video about it anyways and just kind of trash it and say, nope, this is what happens when a license goes into the wrong hands. But no way. This is cool. And why not? I mean, why not a cinematic take on this or iteration of this, because it is pretty cool. No big spoilers, but you get that one familiar face. You'll see him, you'll spot him right away if you're an Alien fan, and really allows you to really make that connection. If you're a true Alien fan, you've been around for, since you've been watching them, since Alien. Yeah, they really do hit those chords, and they really are trying to make a connection with that original fan base. So I got to give it the approval. Let's get into the covers, because just like Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, this was such a celebratory release. It was something that was just very highly anticipated, that they exploded with covers. Couldn't acquire them all, but let's just look at the ones that I did get. Look at Scotty Young. I mean, you got to appreciate the artist here. His playful takes. I know I just finished talking about how it is not cartoonish, but this is just a variant cover. This is not what the art looks like inside. Promise you. Okay? But this is, again, just a real playful take. Scotty Young just giving his rendition of Alien, and I think that's got to be Ripley in her yellow suit. That is just so cool. All right. So here we got, again, the names of so many artists are involved with this. So many artists came out to contribute to a really an honest take on, like I said, such a famed franchise in Alien. Here's some other covers. I'm just going to gloss over them. And like I said, artistically, it takes itself so seriously. The tone is so mature. Even Xenomorph, you know, when you see him come on screen, his head has that luster on it, and how the light bounces, how it catches the light and bounces off of it. I mean, it really does stay true to what we would expect from a Xenomorph. Even picked up the blank cover, which is all black. Again, these are good for, you know, if I ever come across any of the authors or artists, would definitely use these books for signatures. And I save my favorite, obviously, maybe you all already know what it is, variant, not incentive variant, which is by Peach Momoko. I mean, she's just everywhere doing everything. She's an incredibly busy artist, but I really feel that this is the kind of crown of the Alien Queen that she did on this cover, and it is just absolutely beautiful. But Peach Momoko, she's got to be my favorite. All right, these are incentive covers, and I'm just going to go down. So here we have, this is a premiere cover. I've never seen this before, but I saw it at my store. Wasn't too expensive. This is by Lee, and this is what they call the premiere cover. I don't know. It doesn't say one out of, like usually it'll give you a number, the ratio. But this was the premiere cover, and this is by Lee. And I think it's just the black and white take of the main cover. This has got to be, along with Peach Momoko, probably my next favorite. This is LaRocca, who's also actually working, who's artist for the artwork that's inside the comic book. And this is the 1 in 25 by LaRocca. Amazing. Almost done. This is Finch, and there was a variant, a virgin variant for the Finch. And this one, my store only had one of these, so it was labeled as 1 in store. So I was able to acquire the only one that my store had, so I was really happy about that. But yeah, there was a virgin variant of this, which I would have loved to get, but that's a more valuable variant. And of course, this is McNiven. This is the 1 in 50. It's a bit more cartoonish. Again, the art inside of the actual story, I feel, is very appropriate for the material. But that does look pretty cool. So check that out. This is a lot of books. This was just Alien #1. Okay. Again, highly recommend it. If you're an Alien fan, check this out. We've gone so long without, you know, kind of a legitimate Alien movie. I know we just recently had Prometheus and then Alien Covenant after that. I do know that Ridley Scott is working on some stuff that should be releasing either this year or next year, but this is just fun to have. In the meantime, Alien #1, Marvel comic books. You guys should really read this if you're a fan. Okay, we're going to move on to books that I'm still reading, books that have released this week, and let's just jump into Batman Black and White. This is issue #4. This is the compilation series, very similar to the Carnage and Wolverine, that I've been reading since issue number 1. And again, just loving these Batman stories, just really these short collection, these short, just, one-shots of the exploration of Batman, the long-lived superhero that we've seen just for years and years and years. Still, very different artists and very different authors are still every issue coming in together to create just some really beautiful art and some really kind of off the beaten path kind of stories. Like I said, even in the last issue, it'll put Batman in this futuristic setting where he's like a huge robot, and then the next story will be about him in medieval times. This issue really stood out because one of the stories is an amazing horror story, a haunting story. Almost reminds me of like something out of a R.L. Stine book or something like that. And it was just a lot of fun to read. And issue number 4 of Batman Black and White. If you're a Batman fan, this is definitely for you. And I do not know if this is the last issue, but I'm pretty sure this is getting ready to wrap up, as we are already in issue number 4, which I think Wolverine Black, White, and Blood maybe ran for about 4 or 5 issues. And this is the only cover that we got. And I believe there were some variants, but I'm just picking up the main cover since I'm really just reading this. But that is pretty cool. Moving on. So we're going to end off with Crimson Flower from Dark Horse Comic Books. We saw the release of number 3 this week. I talked about this earlier. I talked about it number 1 a few videos back, and I just kind of want to update you guys on it. This is still an amazing read, Crimson Flower. Artistically unique and might be a bit of an acquired taste. But I really love it. I really love how apart it is from what I'm used to seeing. And I think a really bold take to how a comic book should be drawn and how a story should be told. Seemingly a revenge story, but just a really crazy one, but simple to follow. Father gets murdered, daughter is on a revenge mission. But it throws in the twist of mental health, and I think that's one of the biggest appeals here, that the main character is unsure which reality she's living in, and I really feel that just creates just this new take on a revenge story. In an industry where we're so saturated with revenge stories, I really feel like Crimson Flower took a step in a direction that's very unique. So just wanted to update you guys with Crimson Flower number 3. This is still a really good read from Dark Horse Comic Books. Created by Matt Kindt, Les Nowowski, and Crabtree. And of course, Matt Kindt, another very busy creator, currently working with Keanu Reeves on Berserker. So you know that the work is really something to look out for. And we did find and acquire the variant cover for this. So that was it for this week. Whole bunch of comic books that we looked through, but like I said, not that many titles, but just a bunch of variants. Okay, that Alien book, it was really good, guys. All right, until next time, this is Waylon signing off. Don't forget to visit us at our website, zombiestar.com, and I'll see you guys next time.